What's up, and welcome back to Kind of Funny's Miyazaki Studio Ghibli in review. It has been 4 years. 4 years, over 4 years.
That's impossible.
Since we last reviewed a Miyazaki Studio Ghibli movie when we did The Wind Rises. It was me, Andy, Belinda, and Nick, and Kevin at the time reviewing that movie from home. That was the work from home era of Kind of Funny, where we were doing 2 in reviews a week.
That was at least 8 months ago.
It feels that way, right? No, 4 years,
That's
Andy.
wild.
Absolutely insane.
My
to
prime
be
was
back
taken from
here.
me.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Good Lord.
I
What
probably
could have been?
I probably could have dunked had I just really studied in that
I was
time.
thinking about it. I didn't want to bring that up, but you know.
Unbelievable.
Of course, I am Tim Geddes. I'm joined today by the Nitro Rifle, Andy Cortez,
Mojito.
the producer slash seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Hello, Tim.
Hello. And making her valiant return to Kind of Funny, her first time at
God,
the spare bedroom at this table, it is Belinda Garcia McGee. How are you doing, Belinda?
I'm great. Last time I was here, I had brown in my hair. I guess that's wild. And I was at home. So yeah, this is kind of wild to be here after 4 years and my first time in the studio.
Yeah?
So yeah.
Besides my wedding. This is the first time in the studio in like normal.
So it looks very different
world.
from your wedding.
Yeah. Very excited to have you. It's fortunate we have you because today was, let's just say, rough here in San Francisco and Kind of Funny in particular. A little peek behind the curtain for everybody. This in review episode is cursed. Okay? Because not only has it been 4 years since we last did Miyazaki in review, this movie came out last December, but it came out during the Christmas break. All right.
Yeah.
So that just makes our scheduling even harder to find places to go back to it and all that. So we're like, we'll get to it when we get to it. Then when we were trying to get to it, working with Belinda's busy schedules, everything we have going on, we picked a date. And that date was September 12th, 2024. Andy, I don't know if you know, but that was a couple months ago. All right. September 12th.
That was when we were supposed to do this?
Yeah.
That was before
Wow,
Kevin
okay.
left to be a dad.
That was months ago, bro. Yeah. Because my notes are September 12th, 2024
I
for
actually
this movie.
forgot
Never
about
forget.
it. And then you slid back in my text. Was like, you want to do it? And I was like, right. Yeah, sure.
That is the
Yeah,
thing
of
we do.
course.
Yeah, so we were going to do it that day, and then you got sick.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't come. And we had promised the people that Belinda would be here. So I was like, I don't want to do this without her. We got to do it in the studio. It's going to be great. And then I said all that. I was like, I promise it's going to happen by the end of this year. And then today, everything's going great. And while we're live on Kind of Funny Games Daily, me and Andy are sitting here. Cool Greg jumps up from over there and goes, did y'all just feel that earthquake? And we did not. But immediately, Andy's phone blows up. There's a tsunami warning in the Bay Area. Evacuate everybody.
Get out.
It was a scary message. It was like, leave now, go inland, go up.
Go
anywhere.
up.
Fuck.
And so it's like, that's pretty intense. So Belinda was like, texting me like, hey, what's going on? And I was like, let's feel this out and see what's going on. And then eventually it was just like, hey, I'm evacuating. I'm saving the cats. We're going to, this. And I was like,
Yep.
okay.
Save the trees, save the
So
cats.
I literally sat here and I'm going to say had a small breakdown. Andy, how would you describe it?
He just walked up to me and was like, man. And that's kind of like all he had to say, you know?
Like, God damn
He
it.
was like, I don't know when we're going to do this. This may never, ever happen.
I mean, that's like the most healthy breakdown one could have.
True.
Man.
But I was definitely like, this is such a bummer. But then it got recalled. You were literally in your car driving
Yep,
to
I
what?
was driving up to my parents with the kitties meowing alone because Yusuf's on a work trip, so he's gone. And he's in Canada, and it's like, please leave. Please go somewhere safe. And then, got the word that the warnings or whatever were gone, so just pulled off, turned back around, and came back home. Texted Tim. I was like, I'm still down if you're still down.
And
so-
here we are, everybody. Thank you so much
What a
for
journey.
dealing with all of that, Belinda. I'm happy that you're
We
here
all
for this.
survived
We
this time.
did all
It's very
survive.
thematic and emblematic of the story of Ghibli as a whole. You know what I mean?
You know?
Don't
I
know.
appreciate you bringing in that art. You know what I
Thank
mean?
you.
Bringing in that point of view.
Thank you, Tim.
Andy Cortez. Of course, this is Kind of Funny's In Review, where each and every week we get together to rank, review, and recap different movie franchises. Like I've been saying, this week we are doing Studio Ghibli, Miyazaki In Review. Next week, Everybody get extremely excited. We're returning to the Sony Spider-Man universe of Marvel characters. Kraven the Hunter, baby. It's happening. And this is some exclusive news for people listening right now. That episode will be recorded on Friday afternoon. Okay, Friday, what would that be? Friday the 13th. Oh, what a perfect time.
Nothing bad is going to happen that day.
What's extremely exciting is schedule-wise, we can't make the screener for the movie. So the only way for me, Nick, Greg, and Andy to see Kraven is to, in the middle of the day on Friday, we're going to record some shows in the morning here, go to the movie, watch it together, and immediately come back and give our raw thoughts on Kraven the Hunter.
That's the best way to do it.
I know.
Real talk, if we could, it's not possible to do that with everyone. It's much smarter to go to screeners and stuff like that. But if we could do it like that, that's exactly how I would do every single movie, especially this one. But it would have taken me 5 hours to watch this with you guys.
There was an original
man,
plan
this was a
that we
slog.
were going to dress up in suits for the Game Awards on Thursday, and then Greg was going to go by himself to go watch Kraven in his suit and tie before the Game Awards, and then
Pay it the
immediately be
respect
here
where
for the
the respect
reacts.
is due.
What a cursed Friday the 13th.
I know, man. There's a lot going on. But anyways, I hope you will all join us because whether it's good or bad, I guarantee the in-review episode for Kraven the Hunter is going to be generational. But this episode isn't about that. This episode is all about you and your beautiful support as Kind of Funny members. If you're a member, you get the shows ad-free. You can watch live as we record them. You get a daily exclusive Gregway, and you can be a super cool Patreon producer like James Hastings, Casey Andrew, Nathan Lamoth, Delaney Twining, or Carl Jacobs. You truly are the best of us. Today we're brought to you by Imperium, Aura Frames, and Shady Rays, but we'll tell you all about that later. We got to get into it. The Boy and the Heron. With a runtime of 2 hours and 4 minutes, it was released on July 14th, 2023. Directed by Hayao Miyazaki. Music by Joe Hisaishi. Once again, the GOAT. One of the GOATs, I would say. A budget of $55 million and a U.S. box office of $294.2 million. The film received critical acclaim and made it the fifth highest grossing Japanese film of all time. And it also won a whole bunch of awards, including Best Animated Feature Film at the Academy Awards, the BAFTAs, the Golden Globes, and the Japanese Film Academy. So we're going to get right into it. Full transparency. I have not watched this movie since September 12th,
No, I got it right here.
2024. Andy has it right here. Belinda and Andy both have also not watched it in the last couple months.
I was prepared the first time we were going to do this. Less prepared for today.
Less prepared, but we're going to try our best. And our best is Nick Scarpino, who just watched it yesterday.
I did. And at no point during this film did I watch 1 hour of it and then get pulled away to play 2 hours of Warzone with Andy
It was
and
a
Mike,
good time. Too.
and then come right back to this film.
Well, that's the
I watched it
intermission. That's the
100%.
scheduled intermission.
That was the scheduled intermission. For a film that felt a lot longer than it in fact was.
I'm surprised it's only 2 hours and 4 minutes.
Yeah, it's not very long, but it is very, very, very...
I mean, that's very long for an animated film.
Sure.
That's
To be
very
fair.
true.
Yes.
I read a piece of trivia talking about how I think they shoot for during his prime time, they shot for 10 minutes of animation per month or something like that. And this film took so long that it was they were averaging I think it was 1 minute of animation per fucking month or whatever. It was
Wild.
down by a tenth. It was wild, which is why this film took so long to make.
Omega Buster in the chat asks, can we get a Warzone plot recap in the middle?
Absolutely, you can, because we were getting hunted
Yeah.
last night by that shark guy.
And me and Nick pushed some people we shouldn't
We shouldn't
have.
have.
you know,
No.
it's a
Oh God! Wait.
disaster.
So hold on. The Boy and the Heron time of you watching the movie and making your notes was interrupted by Warzone at night.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
wasn't the
Last
This
night.
wasn't content for a stream.
No, no, no.
8:45
Oh,
at
okay.
night.
Great.
Yeah,
great,
I had to get on. I had the call.
He had
I
to.
got the call
Got
of
the
duty,
call.
and I had to go
Had to
to
answer the call, dude.
Oh man, Nick. Let's start with you because you have this most fresh in your mind. What did you think about The Boy and the Heron?
The movie is beautifully animated, so you always have to give it to the actual art direction behind Studio Ghibli. If you just muted this film and watched it, it is absolutely stunning. Every frame is gorgeous, and I'm always taken aback. At one point, at the beginning of the film, right after the fire sequence, which is stunning, they move out to the countryside to go to the factory, and there's just a beautiful, ultra wide shot of the sort of caravan going through the forest. And I paused it for a second. I called my wife, and I was like, just look at this. Look at what they made here. This is stunning. And there's so many little beautiful moments in this film that didn't need to even be animated, right? Modern, our attention span in America, they would cut that out, right? We didn't need to see him running back in and putting his clothes on, right? We didn't need to see those moments. but they just wanted to show you that moment, and it's stunning and it's beautiful. And overall, I mean, it is a very surreal experience. Having said all of that, I have no idea what this movie is about. Zero. And it's so heady and so sort of esoteric that Andy had to explain to me what it was. And even after he explained it to me, I was like, I don't think that's right. Like, that doesn't seem right, but I could see what they were going for.
Maybe
there.
I dreamed it. I'm not sure.
It's
It
possible.
felt like a dream.
And that's
Or you were asleep.
it reminds me a lot of Spirited Away, which was that it's relying on a lot of things that I don't particularly have context for, but I can recognize are stunning and cool, and I want to know more about it. But I walked away from that being like, I don't really understand what that was about, but I think I do, but I don't. And this is definitely one of those where I would love to sit in a lecture and have someone break it down frame by frame, but like, this is what was really going on here. Because unlike a more traditional Hollywood film where you walk away and go, man, the theme was really backed up by the actions of the character arcs and the plot. This one, I'm like, I don't know. Did he lose? Did he win at the end? He was supposed to take over the realm, but then the realm collapsed. What's going on here? I don't understand it. And then Andy explained it to me. It was like we'll talk about it when we get to him. But
Well, we'll see. I'm not sure. No promises.
But overall, definitely stunning, and I'm glad it exists. But I don't know. It took me a while to get through this one. It was a little bit of a slower movie for me.
Yeah, because we had some longer matches near the end, so it took a while.
Oh, we would have kept going, but you had to go somewhere. I don't know what you had to do.
I have to wake up early for Games Daily. I got to be responsible.
Tough one.
Tough one.
Yeah.
Belinda, what about you? What did you think of The Boy and the Heron?
I agree with Nick. I think like when it starts, that whole intro sequence with the fire was one of the most beautiful scenes I've ever seen in an animated movie, and I think it's of course gorgeous. And I love that Miyazaki usually takes internal growth and externalizes it, and so that is what happens in this movie. I will say that I feel like I didn't connect with the main character as much as I do like a Nausicaa or a Chihiro or something like that. And my favorite Miyazaki movies are so high up there for me that this one kind of fell a little bit lower. But, everything is expertly created, and it's obviously like one of the highest forms of animation that we have ever seen. And like, I appreciate it for the craft, but I think the story lost me a little bit. I kind of felt in the middle there. I was like, am I too dumb to understand this? Everything was happening. But yeah, I think it was a beautiful movie, but just didn't connect with me as much as all the other ones do.
Yeah. Andy?
I'm the exact same. There's understanding themes and that sort of form of media literacy, right? And then I think this is just so many levels deeper than that. Like, if I'm watching a movie about somebody who's having trouble like divorcing his wife, and in the movie there's like something in his refrigerator that he's wondering whether he should toss it out or not, and it's like, oh, that's the connection. Like, you can make that connection as anybody who understands and can kind of see things one level deeper. This is like so far deep down there that I couldn't even from scene to scene, I'm like, I feel like I missed the last 30 minutes of whatever was just shown, because this scene out of nowhere is just happening, and it feels like nobody's reacting in a way that makes sense. And a lot of Ghibli movies do have that, granted. But those always seem, like Belinda was mentioning a little while ago, like I can usually still kind of find a connection point. And here, I had nothing except for how beautiful it was. And I legitimately took me about 3 hours to watch this movie, because I kept on rewinding and I kept on just losing focus. And it was a tough one, even though it is so freaking gorgeous. This is definitely going to land probably a little bit lower on my list, even though I'm always a sucker for like the brand new animation done in beautiful resolution, and it looks as nice as it could possibly look in the modern age. And like we're watching right now that you all can't see because we get claimed, but just every fucking painting you could tell took so long to work on, and it's on the screen for 8 seconds. Nick mentioning that part of, I believe it was Mahito putting his pants on, right? And how that didn't need to get animated. And I remember calling that out a lot during a lot of Ghibli movies, where somebody like walks into a room, leaves something, and then they come back to get it because they forgot something. And it's like, they could have cut that out, but it just adds character, and there's a characterization. Barrett, careful! Barrett, careful!
Oh shit! Sorry.
He's gonna come after us.
I was just trying to watch the movie.
He's gonna come after us. Yeah, it was so hard for me to connect with this one. I think this is one that I've heard from a lot of people that upon a rewatch, and once you understand what it's about, I legitimately did what you did, was look up what the fuck is this movie about, and listening to interviews afterwards, and have since forgotten all of those reasonings.
Yeah.
Tim, what did you think?
I mean, I think I'm aligned with y'all on this. Undeniably beautiful to the point that it is just a lot to take in. And I feel like there's a level of quality here that this movie existing and being worth watching is, I think it totally is, just because of how much love is put into so many elements and just like moments of the movie. I don't think they had up to me. I'm definitely too stupid for this. I take that with 100% certainty. As I was watching it, anytime I thought I had an understanding of what was going on, they'd introduce time travel. And I was like, really? That's weird. Like, things just kept happening that I feel like, I understand it's Miyazaki, it's surreal. Not everything's supposed to make sense or add up. And I do feel like there's something about this movie that really does feel like a almost greatest hits of everything that he's done, with a bunch of different kind of elements and characters and ideas that we've seen before, but because of how modern it is, it just looks so much better. And not that it ever looked bad, but like, I feel like the Totoro elements of this, which Totoro has always been one of my favorite ones, being a story of just growing up and these kids kind of losing their innocence and all that. There is a lot of that in this, but I feel like it's kind of matched a bit more with like the action sensibilities of Princess Mononoke, or some of the more abstract side characters of a Spirited Away. And it's just like a bunch of things that it starts to just feel like too much for me, where I kind of gave up trying to understand it and just let it wash over me instead. And I enjoyed it for what it was, which just to me felt like a bunch of disjointed moments that by the end of it, I do think kind of added up to something where I was like, all right, I see what you were doing. I don't fully understand it, but I respect it. But I do think that the little things that stuck with me, so many of the Miyazaki animation moments that are just so special, like in the beginning, obviously the fire scene it's a spectacle. And I haven't seen anything quite like that. The way that the animation and characters are kind of warping as the flames are going, and even what's happening, like, it throws you into some stuff that you're like, okay, where are we going? And for it to immediately jump to this young boy in the house, the way that he runs up the stairs, where he kind of runs over to the stairs and then goes on all fours and like climbs up the stairs. I'm like, Andy, we've all been little boys.
Oh, yeah.
We know that. You know what I mean? They just nail these like little moments that just all of a sudden this is a fleshed out character. And I believe in it and I feel for him and I understand where he's at. And like there's the beauty of youth and all of that. Mm-hmm. And then he meets the Heron and then he sounds the way he does. And then he has a little head inside the beak. And I'm just like, no, hey, this is Miyazaki. They go through the tunnel and it's like, we're in this other world. But I just feel like there's way too many elements being thrown at you all at once.
Yeah, to me, I think it definitely lacks a level of charm that I think Totoro had. Where Spirited Away, I think, is sort of a good analog for this, where it's like dark and just kind of a nightmare the entire time. And this fits into that category of like, I don't really like anything that happened in this. I don't feel myself like pulled to anything that happened in this, and I don't particularly think there's any moments of levity or humor in this. I think it's just kind of that all the moments of a movie like Labyrinth where you're like, oh, this is a kid's nightmare. This is what we're making is a kid's nightmare, except you don't have any moments where you're like, oh, there's some hope in this. Yeah. And at the end, it just kind of ends. You're like, huh. I would need therapy after this if I had gone through this experience as a kid.
I think the moment that lost me was when the Heron had teeth. Like when the teeth were showing, and I was like, there's something in there that I'm unsettled.
Yeah, to me that was very unsettling. And then a short, bald Italian man popped out, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Oh
movie?
my god,
what's
watching
going
this?
on?
And I was like, "Nick's gonna fucking have some things to say."
It was that, and then it was just the sort of like the fetish of this boy being smothered by things.
Yeah,
which was very weird to me, and I'm sure that popped a couple anxiety pills for a few people out there that were watching this, because like the frogs, the pelicans, like everything just for whatever reason wanted to smother this kid to death. I'm like, what are we doing here? And then there was some like weirdly, I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but like weirdly like overt sexual undertones to some shit that was happening. I was like, What is the
with
point
his
of the
like,
movie?
is she his mom or not the mom?
Is she
that
the
whole
mom? Is she
thing.
not the mom? What does that make the brother? What is his sister? And then also the sperm that are going up into the sky.
A lot of sperm.
A lot of sperm in the sky.
in this movie. Oh yeah.
And you can't even say they're not sperm because like, yeah, they're going to be born. I was like, well, they're clearly sperm.
Sperm. Yeah.
So what the fuck does that mean? And then the time traveling, and then Dave Bautista's in this film for no reason. I don't even think Dave Bautista knew what movie he was in when he did the VO for this. He was just like, I've got 5 minutes in between Guardians 2 and 3. Get me in the VO booth. Let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, the cast of this one is really, really insane.
Did you guys watch the Japanese version or did you watch it with the American voice cast?
I watched English.
I had to as well because
English,
I just couldn't focus on reading.
We got Robert Pattinson as the Heron. We have
it.
Karen
Absolutely.
Fukuhara as Lady Hime, Gemma Chan, Christian Bale, Mark Hamill, Florence Pugh, Willem Dafoe, Dave Bautista. What are we talking about? What a cast.
I mean, we've seen that a lot with his
Yeah.
past movies, and I love seeing Christian Bale return. And you know, I'm sure he loves working with that crew, and there's some familial bond there. But just to go back to the plot real quick, I legitimately felt like I needed to there was an inside joke I missed, or that there was like some inside baseball stuff that I just wasn't aware of that makes you feel like you're missing out. Like, I got to assume that if you didn't know what this movie was about, but you are at least close to Miyazaki and are in his family, then maybe you were able to make some connections. But because I just didn't understand anything of what was happening, I couldn't see and make parallels to what certain themes and what sort of concepts were. It was just fucking over my head, dude.
Yeah, it was a very maximalist film, I feel like.
Yes.
And I think the Miyazaki films that I tend to enjoy are the minimalist ones where very little happens, but you're seeing the growth, and it's usually a young girl. So I feel like that's why, I kind of endear myself to, the protagonists in the other movies because they're little girls, and I'm like, I was a little girl. And so I see myself in them a little bit more than with Mahito here. But yeah. I'm glad we're all on the same page. I thought I was going to be the only one.
Yeah, I almost just wished it was an allusion to environmentalism again or something.
Again.
I that's the stuff that I feel like that's where he really, really cooks. And I know he said he's retiring 1 million times or whatever, and I think they confirmed he is not. But if the next movie had something to do with the AI and the death of art and trying to kill art, if they were to work around themes like that, that would be awesome as shit.
I'm rooting for Torturo.
Tutoro.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's been
It was right there. Oh, man. We're about to get to the plot, but we're going to do that right after a quick word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Imperial. Imperial is a complex, challenging, feature-rich action RPG. In a far-flung corner of the galaxy, an expedition arrives on a hitherto unexplored planet to find a colossal monolith built by a lost civilization. There are no more ruins. The monolith is filled with danger, and the expedition is ill-equipped to unearth the secrets within. All eyes turn towards an elite mercenary who may succeed where all others have failed. Venture inside the monolith and face the automatons that yet remain, remnants of the impossibly ancient civilization that built this unknowable structure. Survive and uncover revelations that transform our understanding of humanity itself. Imperial features a memorable cast of characters with personal quest lines and multiple endings for each one. Of course, you can unlock new abilities to personalize your playstyle and upgrade and modify the loot that you find. Your only hope of victory lies in mastering a unique and complex combat system, so get on it. You can wishlist Imperial now on PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam. Wishlist Imperial today.
Isn't it funny how the people we love the most are often the hardest to shop for? Luckily, there's one gift that everyone on your list is sure to enjoy, an Aura digital picture frame. Aura frames make it incredibly easy to share unlimited photos and videos directly from your phone to the frame. When you give an Aura frame as a gift, you can personalize it and preload it with a thoughtful message and photos using the Aura app, making it an ideal present for long-distance loved ones. I have one at my desk, I sent one to my mom, and I'm sending this bad boy to my dad for Christmas. Seriously, uploading photos via the app is so easy and such a nice way to share Ben's childhood with my parents, even though we're in San Francisco and they're in Chicago. Save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames by using promo code KINDAFUNNY at checkout. That's AURAFrames.com, promo code KINDAFUNNY. This deal is exclusive to you, our best friends, so get yours now in time for the holidays. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Shady Rays. Get ready for this holiday season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have all of your gift-giving needs covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Durable frames and world-class optics for all outdoor adventures. With an extensive array of styles and colors, you're bound to find the perfect pair of Shady Rays sunglasses. Y'all know I've been outside in the sun a lot playing Pokemon Go, and it's always such a great experience wearing Shady Rays when I'm out and about looking dope. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost or broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Exclusively for you listening right now, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal. Head to shadyrays.com and use code KINDAFUNNY for 50% off 2 or more pairs of shades. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Shadyrays.com, use code KINDAFUNNY for 50% off 2 or more pairs of shades. Hit me, Andy.
You're closer. Okay, hold on. I worked on this one quite a bit. Okay, there we go. One sec. And you're going to have to mess with the volume quite a bit here, Baird,
Sure.
okay?
Sure, I will.
I didn't understand shit. I think the gummy head. I'm only singing this song because of Robert Pattinson. He was the bad man. He was the bad man. Can you hear the backup vocal?
Yeah, I can hear it.
yeah.
It's really good.
Okay, there we go.
I thought you were just throwing your voice like a ventriloquist
Oh
there.
no!
Yeah.
I've recorded it on the microphone here.
That was crazy,
It's the
man.
new toy, Tim. It's the new toy.
It's so cool. Man, he
Cute.
wasn't Batman.
He wasn't Batman.
He wasn't.
That's the only
Batman.
connection point I had to this movie.
Well, I was completely untethered because I had no idea it was Robert Pattinson the entire time until I saw him in the credits, and I was like, "Wow, what an underutilized talent in this film." Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah,
the
I thought he was
boy.
great, though.
I thought he was awesome.
He should do more VO work for sure.
It's not. He was fine as the character. I just didn't like the character.
I mean, I agree with that.
and I didn't
Yeah.
understand why the character was in this film, and I don't understand why the character didn't have an arc.
I mean,
at all.
he's in the title. You know what I
He's
mean?
the titular character.
Mhm.
There's two.
Mm.
There's the boy.
Mhm.
There's the Heron.
Yeah. I think what throws me off about it is, we talked. I brought this up on a show a couple weeks ago of that one little mobile game ad that Anthony Starr is in. Anthony Starr of The Boys, who plays Homelander.
Mhm.
And he is from New Zealand normally, right? But in this commercial, they were like, just use you can't be Homelander in this commercial. We don't have the rights to that. So just use your American accent so people will know who you are.
Mhm.
So in this commercial, hello, I'm Anthony Starr, and I'm playing this new game called Total War, or whatever the fuck. Like, that's kind of odd. They didn't let me use a Kiwi accent.
Yeah.
And here I got to assume Robert Pattinson walked in the booth and just started going, blah, blah. They were like, I mean, we kind of want you to just use your voice, but this is fine.
Guess we're using it.
Is that?
We only got you for one day, so we're using it.
I'm a Heron. Like, all right, Robert Pattinson.
Do you think that's more or less egregious than getting Christian Bale in there and have him slowly slide into a New York accent by the end of the movie?
He definitely lost his way.
He started at the beginning. He's like, "Hello, everyone. I'm an American dad." And by the end, he's like, "Goodbye. What am I gonna do with this guy? Give him my sword." It was very weird.
Very
Anyway,
Daniel LaRusso.
it was very, very Daniel LaRusso. But I digress, ladies and gentlemen. We're not quite there yet because I start this movie up. I queue it up, obviously, on HBO Max. And before the movie starts, of course, HBO Max, banger content out there, right? All sorts of great stuff to look forward to, Belinda. Would you believe I got an ad for Human versus Hamster?
What's that?
Exactly fucking mundo. I think we could put the final nail in the coffin that is HBO Max. I
What
think that
is that?
experiment is
What
done.
is that?
It is a reality show where humans do live human-style hamster stuff while a hamster does it.
No fucking way.
This is awesome.
This is
I
the
love
ad I
this.
got. This
I
is
love
the ad
this
I
so
got.
much.
Television right here. This
Wait.
is the spiritual successor to Floor is Lava.
I think the algorithm understands your IQ level, Nick.
You're the only one that got
Y'all
sent
have to do
this.
that in this studio.
We gotta do it. Look at these guys.
But guys, think about this for a second. This ad played before the final Miyazaki movie.
As
That
God
is-
intended.
As God intended.
You
like,
cannot tell him about
the
this.
dumbest fucking thing you could
No one tell
imagine.
him.
He
right
cannot
before.
know. He would say this is an affront to God itself.
I love this.
This is so fucking.
I just
fun.
need
Oh
everyone
my
to
God,
know
they're so cute.
how hard I laughed about this the entire time as I was watching this incredibly complex, thematically like relevant movie. Anyway, long story short, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We're starting this movie off with the hospital, and it's the fire. And it comes in, the hospital's on fire, and we get this incredible sequence where they run toward the fire, and you see the heat literally coming off the fire on the film. It is gorgeous. What are you pointing at, to?
In this innovative interspecies competition series. Sorry, Nick. Sorry.
No, it's totally fine.
What do you think like the residuals are for the hamsters? Like, are they getting a check in the mail in like 2 months?
They probably get
I think it's
peanuts
like
on
child
the dollar.
work. It's like kid actors.
Yeah.
Their owners get.
They're
get the
only
check.
on 2 hours and off.
My God, what a world we live in. We get introduced to our character Mahito, who is changes out of his jammies and goes toward it, and it's just a hellish fire escape. And that's not the last time we're going to see fire, because his mother is made of fire, just like the Phoenix, Jean Grey.
Wow.
Exactly. From there, he's like, hey man, it's the end. It's midway through the war, presumably World War II, based on the cockpits that we're seeing. And Mahito's mother has died 3 years into the war, and a year later they left Tokyo. And this is where we get this beautiful, again, sort of Studio Ghibli's known for, these wonderful landscape shots, these big ultra wides of just gorgeous scenery.
Wait, when did your autocorrect start changing it to mojito?
Immediately.
Oh,
It's mojito in my entire. And I think it even put like an accent on it. I was like, I don't think that's even how you spell mojito.
No.
Ah. Anyway,
I just
maybe
love,
really want to drink.
I love when Ghibli just draws vehicles. One of my
Oh,
favorite
they're always
things.
so fun.
Vehicles and I love a countryside. Those are the two best ones.
Give me an airship. You know what I mean? And give me a weird little vehicle from Akira Toriyama, Dragon Ball Z.
Put a pig in a plane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Let's go back and watch Nausicaa.
Porco Rosso.
Porco
man.
I
Rosso.
agree.
I'm just the pig.
Nausicaa's my favorite still.
Another Batman.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton. Come for your daughter, Chuck.
He was the Batman.
It's now that you play that song, it sounds like another song, but I can't picture it in my head. I can't.
In the way.
Yeah, what is that?
That's
Same
that.
song. It's the Batman. It's from fucking Batman. Nick.
Is it a song or is it the theme from
it's
Batman?
It's Nirvana.
Okay.
It was the trailer song.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Can you say it again?
That
But
is the
he
song.
was the vampire.
He was the vampire. I was really looking for your volume of harmony right there, Nick.
You did it yourself though. I was starting to think about it, and then the harmony came in, and then I was like,
Am I making
singing
this happen?
Yeah. my brain.
Are you hearing this too?
We were in Belinda, we were in a meeting the other day, and somebody asked a question about, I think it was about the Craven screener, like when we were going to do it. And we have a lot of moving parts here with the calendar and stuff. And usually Tim, it falls on his shoulders to like figure all that shit out, like him and Joey. And Tim goes, hold on. Like somebody asked a question, like, when should we see this movie? Should we see it this? How do we move these things? And I saw the levers in Tim's brain move, and he literally turned away from us and went like this. And I was like, is he using Cerebro right now?
I don't know why I did it. I felt the need to. I just went. I had to think.
And in his
I
brain,
had
he was
to
like this.
think.
And he was like, Gene.
Just picture you and like Peter Parker in No Way Home, when he just has a spidey sense going off, and he's just like
It was
looking around.
so funny.
We figured it out though.
All right, let's keep moving along on this film because we got about 90 pages left in these notes. Mahito meets his dad's new lady, Natsuko. And he's like, wow, you look like my mom. Doesn't make reference to the fact that it is, in fact, his aunt, right?
It is.
Yeah.
You would think he'd be like, hello, aunt. But he's like,
Yeah.
I've never met you before.
Yeah.
Thought
I don't know
that
who
was
you are.
weird.
Was-
Thought that was
a
weird.
little
Yeah,
weird.
exactly.
And then, of course, we find out that she's pregnant, which makes the child in her stomach not only his half-brother or sister, but also his cousin.
Mm-hmm.
I
Right.
said bring back incest the other day.
know if this
I
counts
don't
as
know,
incest.
Yeah.
Perfect time for Barrett to walk away.
We were talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender. Barrett was like, "I know you were watching it. Why did you never get back to it?" I was like, "I got to season 2, and I was like, we got to fucking
more incest.
I was like,
is
we
what
got to
he
kill
said.
one of these kids, or like bring some incest in. I was like, Game of Thrones
Game of
style. You know what I mean?
Thrones,
Like, I
okay.
need some darkness.
Got it.
You can
Incest
watch the
comes back.
shitty live action Netflix. They might have added stuff there. I don't know.
I hope
I got
not.
an episode in and thought this is ass.
I watched all of it. It was great.
From here, we
Lord.
get a ride out to the countryside, right? Where we see some, again, the title sequence. We get all the landscape. It's stunning. And he arrives at his new village, which his dad works at the factory right down the road. I love the factory sequences. There's like only 2 with the factory workers like moving the cockpits up and stuff like that, having to do it by hand. I just think that's so freaking like interesting to see because obviously I've never seen that section. I have to imagine it's historically accurate. I have to imagine there were small villages like this where factories were where they were like building shit and had to like, how do we move this shit? Well, everyone pick one up and move it, right? Like we don't have an assembly line here.
This is another one of those like greatest hits moments I was talking
Yeah.
about, where this reminded me a lot of The Wind Rises, the last movie that did focus a lot on building the planes and like having all that stuff, which was
It was
cool.
a good reminder that like the war is still happening even in places like this where it's a little bit quieter and you're not on the front lines, but that everyone was a part of the war at the
Yep.
time. So those are the little details that I really, really appreciated.
And also always cool seeing Tokyo, how it would have looked during World War II, which is vastly different than it looks now, which is a massive, skyscraperscape, which is cool. He arrives there, and I think I'm not sure what this building is that he comes to the first time. I thought it was his badass home, but I think it's something else, like a city center or a temple or something like that, because this is where we meet all the handmaidens, the older women who dote on him, and who also really, really like cigarettes.
Yes, which
And-
I kind of loved. Like that,
Oh, I
that was
fucking
good.
love
And
it.
them kind of like getting on the food like a herd of cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun.
You have
They're
to
smelling
like
the
squeeze
suitcase.
through
Yeah.
out of them. So cute.
And obviously because they don't have, you're in the countryside, it's World War II, you're in the 1940s Japan, you probably don't have access to a lot of like different types of food. So coming in here and having all these canned goods from Tokyo, and they're just freaking out about all this stuff and smelling the suitcase and all that stuff it's interesting. And then of course this is where we spot the Heron for the first time. And right off the rip, this guy's just
The
an
what?
Heron, excuse me. How do you say it?
Heron.
Heron. What did I say?
Heron.
Heron.
I've said Heron a couple
Heron.
times too.
Heron.
You got a hair on your head.
How do you pronounce it?
Heron. Like
With
like
an
my
I?
my brother Aaron, but Heron.
But it's an O.
But I mean,
So,
so is
it's an O in
Aaron.
Aaron.
Audio listeners, he's doing the hand to his head.
Anyway, this is where we spot the bird for the first time. And he's just a dickhead the whole time.
So we see the bird, and this is the first time the score stuck out to me because this is where we hear kind of like, I guess it's the Heron's theme, and it's just straight up the Breath of the Wild theme. It's just a couple piano keys, just bring, and it's like, all right, cool, and like Studio Ghibli, Zelda, so many like comparisons, and like it's like, all right, cool. These people should be making a Zelda movie, and this movie proves that even further. I would say.
Agreed.
Instead, all we get are shitty, awful AI videos of
Unreal
Zelda and
Engine.
Miyazaki.
Yeah.
No, not even Unreal Engine. Just like
Oh.
people just straight up using AI and fucking
Oh, I get what you're
pulling
saying.
all the water from a local lake to cool all their GPUs.
They head down, of course, to their home, which looks more like a traditional home. He settles in to his room for the first night. And it's one of those things where this is where I'm at when I'm watching this film is he walks into his room and it's a lot of the bed's like higher up. A lot of places for hamsters to like just hide. So maybe we want to look for the hamsters when we walk in. Because now I'm thinking about hamsters the whole time. Like humans versus hamster. They're going to take the fight to us.
Of
They
course.
hide
We
in
need to be
hamsters.
prepared.
Right, we got to be prepared.
That's what the show is. It's just training.
Yes, yes.
The Heron follows him home, and he dreams about the fire that killed his mom. Terrifying. The white shots in this movie are beautiful. Mahito spots the bird down at the lake. It flies over to an odd tower nestled in the woods and then just randomly squeezes through the window. And this is your first sort of moment of Miyazaki where you're like, oh, something weird's happening. At first, I'm like, is this going to be just a normal movie about a kid moving out to the countryside and dealing with the
Never.
war and his mom? No. We got to have a fucking magic tower.
Yep.
That you can't get in, but only it lets you in if you're in the bloodline. But it's a great granduncle who built this thing and then went a little crazy and built a tunnel system underneath. But we never get back to that. It's just the thing they throw out there. We never go back to that.
We don't go back to it, but I do think that it's kind of like implied that there's like some generational shit going on, and like it was also used in the wars. And I watched this movie 3 months ago, but I do remember it having some type of relevance.
It was relevant. It was relevant.
I love this moment though. So he's like, I want to go in and take a look at what's going on here. So he squeezes through like this. These steps that have been sort of like covered in mud throughout the years, and he's the only person that can get through there. And then let's see. Then when it's a lot of the old handmaidens are like, oh, we got to stop him because he's going to get taken. You're like, oh, that's a little crazy. Natsuko tells him that the tower was built by her uncle, who went a little batty and made a maze of tunnels, and they went everywhere. And he's to stay away from it because it could be to his peril. Later that night, he dreams again that his mother is crying out to save him from the fire. The next day, Dad arrives and he's like, hey, I'm going to take you to school and I have a brand new car. Everyone's going to be impressed by that. And he just knows. He's like, I'm getting my ass beat today. And sure as shit, all the other kids are like, this is a rich motherfucker. This is a little rich shithead. And they beat his ass. And then on the way home, he's like, I had to take this a step further. And caves in his own head with a rock.
Man,
it
blood
gushes blood.
Blood was gushing,
violent.
man. Holy shit.
This scene, definitely, I had to pause and be like, did I just see what I thought I saw? And I was like, oh, I did. Okay. We're in for some shit.
And I'm not quite sure why he does this, but by the end of the film, it's because he has malice. He talks about, I gave myself this, and I did that with malice, which I think is why he can't take over Willy Wonka's chocolate factory at the end of the movie.
Right.
Yep,
I
exactly.
think they wanted him to, but he's like, I'm already tainted.
Which essentially is like, and I guess in some ways the Willy Wonka is the same thing here. But in this movie, is my read correct on it that it's like he had the option to become God?
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought. I was
okay.
like, is the chocolate factory the world?
Yeah.
The universe?
So,
But but this is the confusing factor to me is because he's like, I have malice because I'm old, right? I've gone through life and I've seen all these things and I can no longer make this land pure, which is why the pelicans have to eat the sperm, and then the fire lady burns the sperm and the pelicans to death because she has to.
I
purify
finally understand this
everything.
movie now that you just said that sentence.
Exactly. I need a boy to come in here and do that. But the boy's like, I already have malice, so I can't lead your world. And he goes, well, then all hope is lost. And the space rock that came down that's now dissolving and everything's turning back into goo, just like your mom was goo, but it wasn't really your mom because it's kind of Natsuko, who's your sister of the mom, which makes your aunt. But why the fuck wouldn't you know that? Because you live in Tokyo, you don't live out in the state. You know what I mean? Like, where does this lady come from that you've never met your aunt? Anyway, long story short, he's like,
the
I can't.
hamster ends up running.
Long story short, he's like, I can't take over your world, and then lets it die. So is that world just gone, or was this all in his imagination? He was just getting through the processing the loss of his mother, and then accepting the new mother, who is his aunt now, who looks exactly like his mother. So you think as a kid, just flick that switch like his mom.
Maybe it's the world run by malice is dead. So he moved
Builds a new world.
on.
God of a new world.
New world with forgiveness and acceptance.
So he's forgiven the world for taking his mother from him.
Yes.
And now he's accepted, hey, I'm going to move on and have this new mom who's going to take care of me probably too, and also give me a sister cousin.
A lot of articles out there on the internet.
There sure are.
A whole lot of articles, right? What I would love, right? Because obviously this movie is a hot topic. Everybody's talking about it.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And you need your clicks. I would love an image of just this character is a parallel to this feeling or theme or person in Miyazaki's life, and this is actually his workplace. And this, like, I want that.
Dumb down the art for us.
Like, dude, but it's just so. It makes me feel really, really stupid, and I'm normally pretty stupid anyway. But it's,
You are a dumbass.
I can still, get a theme every once in a while. I talked earlier about that, the guy trying to divorce his wife and the ketchup bottle in the refrigerator.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So, like,
that's a thinker for
things
reals.
can happen,
You didn't
right?
tell us what it was in the refrigerator, but now that I know it's ketchup.
It was
makes so
ketchup,
much
it was
darker.
ketchup. And, like, he's battling,
so
like,
much
should
more
I
ominous.
toss it away? And you're like, oh, this is about his marriage. This is crazy.
And then he's like, wait, how long can salsa stay in the fridge after you opened
Exactly,
it? Because it says not forever, but I think I read something that says you get poisoned
Says
still.
forever.
and the
Exactly.
expiration date is the date he needs to sign the papers
Exactly.
by.
Yes.
But it's also the sell
the
by
fries
date.
are the children.
Not
Like,
the
you
date.
got to stay together for the
fries
fries.
are the
Right,
children.
right.
You know what I
That's
mean?
a
The
very
fries are
good point.
incomplete without
The
parents
ketchup.
together.
If they hired us for this, But yeah, again, I just feel like we're getting representations of representations in this movie, and that's why I need a.
This
just
is
give me a
how I
little
imagine.
PSP.
This is how I imagine it was when people played Death Stranding, where you go,
You know
"What is
what?
that about?" And then people try to explain it to me, or they try to explain to me Metal Gear, and I go, "I don't get it."
No, Metal Gear. No. Sometimes.
I was like, is this what it's like to explain Kingdom Hearts to people?
No, but Kingdom Hearts, I think, Kingdom Hearts, to Andy's point, is incredibly simple.
I think so too.
But if you break it
about
down
friendship.
into this represents this and this represents that, it is pretty simple. But yeah, this isn't.
Anyway, back to the plot. This kid's getting haunted by this bird, and it's telling him your presence is requested. And then it's like getting some weird teeth shit, and you're like, what's going on with the teeth?
Hate
Why
the teeth.
getting bigger? Why are there
Hate
two
the
teeth?
teeth so much.
Why are there two eyes? It looks like when
He's got the big chompers.
it's just, and then things are a lot of bulging.
A lot of bulge.
Too
A lot of bulge.
Too much bulging.
And a lot of like skin, like
Yes.
seeing like inside eyelid type skin and just like I don't know what it's called, but like
Lots of
the
fleshy-
inset of
Extra fleshy bits.
fleshy crevices.
You know the way you felt when you saw fucking Tetsuo's arm growing in Akira, and you're
Yes.
like that's the same sort of like weird, grotesque body horror type.
It's
shit.
that shit, and then also just like not even like grotesque things moving. There's a lot of that in this. There's a lot of like touching people's body and it kind of melting in and like really just unsettling shit. Even when the frogs are on him, it like makes his face all weird. But there's also just scenes of
Frogs are
like
terrifying.
the characters just chilling, and it looks like the scary SpongeBob dried out stuff. You know what I mean? Like when they get
Yeah.
really intense with SpongeBob imagery, and like it's just
Or it's
like,
just an illustration.
it's just
yeah.
normal though. Like
Yeah.
they're just the characters just in a scene, and it's just like, why do you look like that? Miyazaki.
Yeah.
Do you guys? Maybe I'm the only person that gets these on Instagram. Do you guys get any?
Fuck.
Do you guys ever get the videos where like they do stuff to eyes and they have to like turn the eye like the
Absolutely
eyelid inside
not.
out and you see the bulge of your inner eye?
Absolutely not.
No, that's an
Me
ad.
neither. Me neither. Yeah, I don't get that either.
Never
You're
send
getting
that
that's
to
an
me.
ad.
No, it's just people's content. Like
Oh.
I'm an eye surgeon and I gotta like take this
Oh,
parasite out
okay.
of this guy's eye. So that,
Oh
like,
my
focus-
God.
Absolutely not.
And then just bulge like any flesh bulge stuff. You guys don't get that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, me neither. I don't get that either.
with you?
Anyway, let's go right back on. He's got to hunt this kid. He's got to hunt this bird down. So what does he do? Of course, 1943, Japan, most popular movie, The Predator, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. He goes, I'm gonna bake my own shit. I'm gonna make my own bow and arrow. I found these like little feathers that are the heron's feathers, and I'm gonna make this thing out of it. Dude, this thing goes right through the wall, but also has a mind of its own. He goes to hunt this thing down with the stick first, and then bites the stick, and he's like, "Am I dreaming?" He's like, "No, you weren't dreaming. All those frogs were real, and they came onto your face, and now you've got that weird like poison that frogs give you that make you high." Remember that time Homer Simpson kept licking the toad, and he was like, "Oh," his eyeballs were like, "Ah!"
I do remember that.
Where this kid's out for the rest of the fucking movie.
Yeah,
in fact, I
that
think
makes
this whole
sense.
thing was just a frog trip.
This arrow was pretty sick though.
Arrow's
It
sick.
was.
Big fan of like the weapon
Making
upgrade
the
thing,
arrow
and I was
was-
like, this is tight.
Very cool.
I just opened up a subreddit page where somebody is talking, comparing this movie to the Babylonian epic of Ansu and
course.
Mesoamerican themes,
Yep.
and I was just like, in Mesoamerican numerology, like fucking shit, dog. Like I went to community college and then art school. Like I'm sorry, man, I don't got that.
Do we? But let's have a real conversation. about it. Do we really think we're not smart enough to understand this movie? Or was this one of those sandwiches that you order and you're like, there's just too many fucking things in the sandwich for me to like?
I mean, it won best animated picture.
What was it
One's-
up against that year, though? That's the question. Cars 4? Not hard to beat that. The truck's
There
back.
were some good ones in there.
Was the Gator's back? Oh, Gator.
That's Joe Biden showed up somehow. How did your Joe Biden
Trucks for
impression
America,
show up
America's
here?
trucks. Bring it back.
Such
Was
a bad
that not
impression.
Joe Gator.
Spider-Verse, or what was
Joe the
last
Gator.
year? What was that?
Mater?
Mater. Can't remember.
Fuck!
Did we have a gas leak today? What's
What
going
do
on?
we have?
There
Hold on.
was a
It's a
tsunami. We had to
tsunami,
fight a
yes.
tsunami.
Oh, shit,
Belinda's
yeah.
cats had to surf.
Belinda thinks it's Spider-Verse.
Was it?
No, in 2023, it was up against.
Turning
okay.
Red.
Wait.
What was it up against?
There
Boy
were
and the
some
Heron
good
went up
ones.
against Elemental, Nimona,
Elemental,
Easy.
which was dope.
Nimona.
Elemental sucks.
Robot Dreams, which I never saw, and Spider-Man Across the
Right,
Spider-Verse.
that's what I
should've
thought.
won.
Yeah, get
Oh,
the
that should have
hell
won.
out of here.
That should have won.
Yeah.
I should have won.
Spider-Verse.
I understood that movie.
That movie had Jordans in it.
It did,
That's my
man.
touch.
And I had a cool popcorn bucket.
So did Dune. I digress. He's hunting this thing down, and all of a sudden, Natsuko goes off into the forest, like she's high, or like a little, like fiddler on the roof, or whatever it is with the rats. Doesn't matter. And he's like, I know where she went. She went into the forest or the tower, and then Kiriko's like the older handmaid, and she's like, don't go. And he's like, I'm gonna go. And then he forced her to go with her. Boom, the door shuts in the back. Now he's trapped. Your presence is requested. You are accepted. Something. And then they go inside, and he's like, shit, I got to fight this bird. And the bird's like, come at me. But if you fucking take a shot at the king, you best not miss, right? Because then the king's going to come fuck you up. That's the saying, right, Tim?
It is.
Cool.
Yeah.
Something dark side. What was that from?
Probably Family Guy.
Yeah.
I think it was Family Guy.
Was that Robot Chicken?
No, it's Family Guy.
No, it was Family Guy.
Yeah.
That's every reference we got here.
So he shoots his arrow at the thing. The arrow actually is made of the heron, so so it goes after the heron, pokes a hole in its beak, and so he can't fly anymore. And then the Tower Master comes up, and I was like, "Is that Great Uncle?" Because that's what. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm Great Uncle." But now you're on an adventure, kid, and the heron's going to be. I'm charging him to be your bodyguard. Shitty bodyguard, shitty guy, does nothing in this movie. In fact, doesn't really even need to be in this film. Or does he? I don't know. I'm not smart enough to understand this. From here
He
we
represents the courage.
Right.
Somebody tell us if he belongs in
Somebody
this
will let us
movie.
know. There was a part of me that was like, man, if I had not waited until 10 o'clock at night and then played Warzone for 2 hours
It's a
and then
good
finished
time.
this movie,
Yeah.
I would have written like this completely different and try to pretend like I knew exactly what this movie was about and see who called me out in the comments and be like, that is 100% not right. 100%.
If you said anything, I
Inaccurate.
would have believed you.
That's what I'm saying. I wanted to see how far I could take it before you guys
Yeah.
were like,
It's about divorce.
I don't think that's what this was about.
Real talk,
babe.
if you started with the flames
Yeah.
and sometime brought up a tower, I would have been like,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
That's what this was.
I'm here with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. We go into the tower. This is where we're full Miyazaki now. This is crazy upside down world. There's the coolest thing of this whole thing is the tunnel, the energy tunnel. They can't touch the walls, but it's like from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, with the
It's the
lights.
time space tunnel. We're not there yet, of course. We go through, and he zaps through, and he's by himself, right? Yeah, he wakes up and he sees a bunch of sailboats, and then he sees a golden archway that says whoever comes in here is fucking dead. And he's like, cool, I'll go toward that. Why not?
not?
And then the pelicans, who are hungry, push him through, and they start, we'll just say, like, molesting him to a degree. I guess they want to eat him, but their pelican beaks can't get around him, so they're just like,
God, it's
Petting at
freaky,
him.
man.
Freaky.
so
Terrifying.
scary.
and then Kiriko's over there, and you're like, oh, she's wearing the same thing as the old handmaiden, and it is her. She's been brought through, but she also exists in a little totem thing, like a little statue thing that he puts in his pocket, and then she comes out of his pocket later.
This fucking movie's crazy.
It's wild. She goes, you're in the cemetery, you gotta get the fuck out of there. She comes, she has a fire whip, and she's like, get out.
I imagine right now, you're in the back seat in a fucking like kid's safety seat,
Mhm.
and I'm driving a minivan. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's great, honey. Like, like I just feel like my child is just saying
Making
the
up
most off
stories,
the wall
yeah.
shit. Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it does feel like a kid is making up stories. And you're the parent that's like,
And that's extremely insulting to how insane, like how insanely creative this movie
Yes.
is, I'm sure. But man, I'm just.
So anyway,
Sucks.
she comes with her fire whip, and
Sucks
she
that I
whips
feel
all
this
of the pelicans off a little boy, and then she goes, get on my boat. And then they catch a giant fish with multiple eyes. They bring that over, of course, to the Mora Mora, who like to eat the guts so that they can learn how to fly.
Eat the guts.
And then once they learn how to fly, they
Wada
go,
wada?
wada wada, wada wada.
Which were the wada wada?
The little tiny sperm of Kirby's.
Sperm Kirby's.
Sperm Kirby's.
He's not wrong.
Spurbies.
And then when they eat guts, when they get all up in your guts, Andy, that's when they become fertile, and then they have to go all the way up to the world to become children. But before they can do that, of course, the pelicans start eating them because the pelicans, this land is barren for them. They don't have any more fish left because someone's running this shit the wrong fucking way. So they're forced to eat the Mara Mara, but they can't get all of it without getting burned by Lady Himi, who has fire hands.
Right.
She has
see her.
fire hands.
She has fire hands. Okay. So from here,
Firebender.
I'm following.
from here, I believe we have to go and find Natsuka. And he's like, and the Heron's like, oh, I'll help you. And he's like, fuck you, you lie. And he's like, I don't lie. But then it's the old conundrum. The Heron always lies. And he's like, he's telling the truth. Then if he's telling the truth, is he really lying? It's that whole,
Ah.
you know, thing.
Philosophy
Chicken and egg.
101.
And then
yeah.
the kid in the best part of this movie goes, I don't give a shit. And then just leaves. He's like, I'll do this on my own. Okay. The Heron then takes him to the parakeet house. The parakeets are really big until they go through the door and they become really normal parakeets, but then they really have to shit.
Dude, the fucking parakeets.
They really have to shit.
Terrifying. Nothing
So
would have
scary.
scared me more as a kid.
I want to give a shout out to the parakeets, though.
Mhm.
Terrifying, but they stood out to me in this movie. In a movie that had a lot of things that could have possibly stood out, these parakeets, man, My God, this movie's messed up. I'm looking at Andy's screen right now. This is just
Well, because I wanted to call
unacceptable.
out how awesome the scene is when Mahito is cutting the fish. I love the animation detail there, and I forgot that.
But
I
again,
guess he
like-
gets to like a main artery or vein, and it just squirts in his face like crazy, and then all the sludge and body horror starts coming out. I don't remember this happening.
It happens, and I believe the exact words were, she's like, do you want to do it? And he goes, sure. And he stabs the thing into the gut. She goes, you have to go deeper. Now harder.
Yeah,
and
and
he's
she
like,
fucking mounts it.
and then stuff squirts all over him. That is exactly what happened. There's a lot of weird, and that's why I don't know. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like maybe you bring into the theater what you bring in, or maybe it's there and you're just experiencing
Yeah.
it. But I don't know what this kid's going through. Maybe that is just the moment where he's like, his mom died. He's really sad, but also he got his first boner, and I don't know what's happening. Okay,
It's a confusing time.
it's very
man.
confusing. These
Can you look
parakeets
at that
are
Easter
terrifying.
egg article? Can you like Control F boner? See if
Yeah.
you
Control that boner. Control that first night boner, and see what happens. I'm sorry, everyone. That's what I took out of the movie. Okay, art is art. It's subjective. Anyway, we go to the parakeet house. It's like, you have to go through the parakeet house, but the bird's like, I'll run interference so you can go through. He walks through, of course. They're like, we're gonna eat you, and he's like, well, you didn't eat Natsuko. Well, Natsuko is pregnant, about to have a kid. We're not monsters. We don't eat pregnant women. She went that way, but we're gonna eat you, kid. And then as they're about to eat him, and they're sharpening the knives, which is the most terrifying thing, Lady Himi comes and burns all of them, and then takes him through the fire. And at first I'm like, oh, cool. This is their version, Tim, of teleportation like from Star Trek. No, as they go through the fire, Tim, of course, it's more like Bill and Ted's as they're going through time and space and all that
Yes.
stuff. Everyone's a huge fan of Bill and Ted's. You have to imagine Miyazaki is.
Yeah, 100%.
You
I'm
have to
pretty sure.
imagine.
I read somewhere that the number one
he was
inspiration for this
quoted.
movie was Bill and Ted. Bogus
Bogus
Journey, actually.
Bogus
Yeah,
Journey.
not Excellent
Not
Adventure.
Excellent Adventure. He recognizes the merits of Excellent Adventure, but Bogus Journey is really where the emotional drama is.
Yeah.
I digress. She's like, hey, what's up, man? I'm Natsuka's my sister. And I don't even think at this point he goes, you're my mom. I don't think it occurred to me that this was the mom.
No.
At some point, we learned that the mom went through the door and came out a year later looking exactly the same. So this is her journey now. This whole thing's a space-time journey. So he's on the journey with his mom. Her
Yes.
door is separate. His door is door 132. I don't know the significance of that. It's got to be a Miyazaki thing. But that's the door he goes through. They get trapped by the parakeets, and she's like, go through the door, but don't let go. If you let go, you'll never find the door again. You won't be able to get back through. The dad's like, oh my God, you're here. He opens the door. A bunch of parakeets come out. They shit on him.
No, he didn't say it like that. How did he say it?
Oh my God. Hey, Mr. Miyagi, you got to come over here. I think I got this kid by the door. And that little kid looks like my wife, but I wouldn't know because I married her sister.
It's Christopher Walken.
Yeah, it always gets
Just
there.
changes.
It was a jump. It was a jump.
Hey, does anyone
scare.
notice how tiny Kreese has become in these last seasons of Cobra Kai? He's a little guy
Cobra
now.
Kai in review coming February 15th, I
He's
think.
a little guy. And they make him like try to make him menacing against Terry Silva, who somehow he's like 6'5". It's not gonna work. Let the man die. Anyway,
Let the man die.
Great head of hair, though.
fucking great head of hair.
He has
for
a
his age.
great fucking dome on him.
Unlike there's some other characters in that we just gotta
Ralph Macchio.
put a wig on them. I accept it.
That's Ralph. Hey, Ralphie. Let's go to Turkey. Let's get you a little transplant. You know what I mean?
God.
We'll wait filming the final season or that movie that you're doing with Jackie Chan, the newer Karate Kid movie. But let's
Tighten it up.
and pay for mine when I'm there. you
Yeah,
know?
while we're there.
Yeah.
While we're there. Anyway, they go back. He's like, no, I gotta go back in. I gotta get Natsuko. She goes, okay. So they go back in. And this is where the stones are like zapping him. Like, the stones don't want you to be here. And of course, the uncle's the stone master. So he's like, he's stopping you from going in there. And again, Pahito didn't know that you're not supposed to go in to the birthing chamber while someone's giving birth. Because, of course, I knew it. But the average kid wouldn't know.
Of course.
He's not studied in the way. So he goes in, of course, and that's a problem for the Parakeet King. Okay, put that in your pocket.
Yep.
We're gonna get back to that.
Damn,
later.
I forgot the
Because the Parakeet King is
How
so
did you forget the kid?
mad about
Introduced
this because it's blasphemy.
So many people so late. in this
Yeah.
movie.
Dave
Yeah.
Bautista's Parakeet King.
The Parakeet King. So he goes in, and all of a sudden these mummy wrappings are everywhere. They go nuts, and they start wrapping him as a mummy. And Natsuko's like, "Get the fuck out of here! I don't like you. You're a piece of shit little kid, and you're getting in the way of me and your dad, who's Christian Bale, and may or may not be from Manhattan. It might be from Brooklyn. I don't know. Depending on which part of the movie, he's either from California or Manhattan." And she goes, "Get the fuck out." She passes out. And then Lady Himi burns, because she's got the fire hand, she burns all of the mummy wrapping, but it's too late. And then she goes,
Dude, this fucking sequence. I don't again, at this point, I'm just so lost at what even could possibly be happening. But this was one that I had to rewind just to rewatch the animation again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This sequence of all of the fabric and stuff looks so damn incredible.
So good.
So she goes, hey, I need a favor. Like, just let these two go home. I'll do whatever. Like, this is my only favor I've ever asked you, Tower Master. And then he zaps her and she goes out. And then Mahito wakes up outside of time and space in this cool room that's like nebulas and space behind him. And this is where we see the triangle tunnel that zaps him a little bit. Like, that's like Akira. Like, it's like, wah-da-da. And then he goes through it and he wakes up in this beautiful archway and the Tower Master's there. And he's like, I'm going to build this little... But he's building the tower in the dumbest fucking way possible. We're like, why is the circular? You know what I mean?
This sounds like such a Nick thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't remember what you're
He's
talking
got building
about.
blocks.
This
He's
what
got
did it
kids
for
building
him.
blocks.
Yeah. He was in on the
This is
movie,
where it
actually.
fell apart.
He's like, you want to play Warzone? I'm done with this movie.
So anyway, so he's building this tower out of building blocks, right? And then somebody puts a mark on the map at Bunker. Bunker, of course, is where we've been rotating lately. And Andy, I don't think you've seen Bunker, but that's where we start rotating, right? We get there, we encounter, who do we encounter, Andy? The demon, the devils.
That one,
right?
yeah.
Just pushing us around. Tim, we have a great rotation out to beach, and we
Fantastic
come back in,
rotation.
and we're in the final circle here, Tim.
Oh, yeah.
But Mike's freaking me out. I get one shot off, Andy gets one shot off, and then the demon comes back and he kills all three of us, and that's game one. We play 3 more games after that.
3 more games? Okay.
Sounded like this was part of the movie.
Could have been.
Gonna be
A guy,
honest.
a magic.
I'm
It's
trying to keep up with
representative.
my notes
Yeah.
on this as you go. I'm like, where am I in the movie? And for a second, I got distracted by a Slack, so I wasn't listening to the beginning of that.
We talked about
So
Call of Duty.
you start talking about Call of Duty, and I'm literally like, you're last circle. It's like, hey, last circle.
You're like, where are
Where are
we?
you?
Because honestly, a guy,
Demon.
the guy that
like-
killed us all was dressed as King Shark. So it was a
Okay.
giant shark that came with the SMG and
Which
murdered
would
all
fit
of
in this
us.
movie.
Kind of would fit in this movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Tower Master's like, you're my bloodline.
Oh, you know what? You know what, Nick? I am watching this tower being built. It does look fucking stupid.
It's stupid.
It is a stupid looking tower.
Wait till Batista builds it later, and you're like, stick to fucking wrestling. You're not an intellect. You can't build children's toys, dumbass. Anyway, this kid, he goes, I want you to take over. The kid's like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, you're my great uncle, nephew, whatever.
Yeah.
And I need you to take over. I can't lead this world anymore. The tower is going to fall, and I have to build this thing every freaking day, and it buys us one more day, and that's pretty much it. We're still here. Hold on. This will explain it all to you guys. Let me take you to the magic space rock that's sitting outside and floating.
Yep.
Okay, and the kid's like,
Classic
of course,
MacGuffin.
that's going to make sense to me. Goes out there, and he's like, look, all these little building blocks are down there. And he goes, don't touch those. Those are all full of malice. The only ones that aren't full of malice are like right here. I think at some point I skipped the whole.
Or like right here.
I think I might.
It's probably these. I'm not sure.
I think I might have skipped the part with the parade of parakeets that are like, all hail the parakeet king, and he's taking Natsuko.
He's doing like a little Metal Gear Solid sneak mission.
Yeah, he's
Really
taking Lady Himi up there. And he's like, yo, I got your granddaughter or whatever, and I'm gonna use her as hostage to take over this world, but he doesn't really want to. He just wants to like get the kid to kill the kid because the kid made blasphemy for going into the birthing chamber and he wasn't supposed to. And then he kind of oddly is just cool with it. But then he's like, hey, you're gonna let that kid build the tower? That's an incredibly important thing to do. Because every time you build the tower, it builds the world. And he's like, well, the kid doesn't have malice. The kid can build it and feed the pelicans because he doesn't have malice.
Yeah.
Okay. But the kid's like, I don't want to do any of this shit because I just fucking met you psychopaths like 3 days ago. Like not even an hour ago. And the parakeet king's like, that's too important to leave to a child. So he builds the tower like a fucking dumbass and then cuts it in half because, don't go fuck it. Can't think, right?
He does one of those laughs.
And then everything starts to go crazy and it turns to mud, like all things turn to goo and shit. And then the kid's like, we gotta run. And they run to the doors. And Lady Himi's like, oh, just in case you haven't figured this out, I'm your mom, but I'm gonna hug you like I'm not your mom because we're the same age. And there's a little confusion thing happening here, right? And so she's like, you're a good boy. And he's like,
Back to the Future.
I'm gonna have a lot of fetishes when I grow up
Yeah.
about this. I'm gonna have a mother complex.
Autobiographical.
And there's gotta be a lot of crazy shit. Then Natsuko comes and he's like, oh, you're my mom now. I accept you as my mom. That's cool. And then Kiriko's here and he's like,
cool.
are you ready to be the old lady again? And she's like, cool. So they go through the door.
Yeah, that's exactly.
They go through the door and everyone is turns back to the normal version of themselves. All the parakeets go to little parakeets. I think they shit on the dad again. And then Kiriko comes out is a little statue, comes out of the pocket, but he kept one of the building blocks. And nothing happens there.
This is real Wizard of Oz energy. The real like, oh, you were all here the whole time, and it's like the Parakeet King's now a little guy,
Yeah.
and like the doll's still there, and it's just like, oh, so this all really happened.
And then
I wish all of that was played with a bit more, and I understand it may not have served the story, but like it would have been a lot
It would have
cooler.
been cool.
Yeah.
I feel like the story somehow needed to breathe more, even though it was really long. Like maybe like edit it down and then let the important parts breathe.
It
Yeah.
felt like all of Act 2 had a lot of Act 1 in it. Or had sorry. It felt like a lot of Act 3 was like just so
Setting things up.
Yeah, there was just so much in there, packed in there, that I feel like a lot of that could have been either brought forward.
Set up
Yeah.
better.
2 years later, the war has ended, and we all returned to Tokyo. That's it. We're done.
You did a great job of summarizing that.
I
very
skipped
quickly.
a lot of shit, but that was the top level.
Top level. I do think you nailed it. I think that
Thank
was a
you.
great representation of
Thank you
processing
for that.
grief and a nice retrospective on Miyazaki's career.
Wow, Nick, I just saw the hug between the mother son.
There's some heat there, huh?
There was some heat.
Some heat.
It did linger. a little bit.
She said, like, this is a quote from her. She says, "I'm not scared of fire." Think about that.
He goes, Mom, I gotta tell you something, right? And she goes, I know I'm gonna die in a fire, but I'm not scared of fire.
Here it is.
Let's see this hug.
We're watching it. Oh no.
Oh, that's where Kiriko saves Natsuka.
yeah.
Now it's time to do what I like to call Ragu Bagu. But wait! We don't do that on Miyazaki in review because a lot of movies don't have bad guys. So instead, we have a segment called MVP.
Robert Pattinson.
No, I was expecting a song.
Damn.
Andy had this look. I was like, oh, brilliance just struck. He's about to play a song on the spot.
I was gonna do Ragu Bagu.
Robert
It's
Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson, but not the Heron.
See, okay, let
I hated
me
the Heron.
run you through.
I hated it.
Let me run you through the MVP list so you guys can understand what we're dealing with. All right. Now, Belinda, it's very infrequent that you're on this show.
Finish the song.
So, well, yeah, go for it.
Jesus Christ.
One sec. It's a new thing.
M.
It's doing a lot of fall off. Hold on one sec.
Finish this.
I don't like it. Hold on.
VP. We're done. That's it.
Oh shit. Okay.
That's all I wanted
I
to
thought
do.
we were gonna get one for each, but
No.
so Belinda, you're not on this show, like, and I'm so happy for you. You know what I mean? You don't need to deal with this every single week. But we normally do Ragu Bagu, which is Rad Guys Talk Bad Guys. We rank the bad guys in these movies.
We're the rad guys.
Sometimes we rank it based on like how bad they are, and sometimes we rank it based on how much we like them. It really doesn't matter. We're just trying to have fun. But what is always consistent is when we are gone from a franchise for a while, and then we later come back and read what we wrote down.
Yeah.
We rarely remember what the fuck we were trying to say.
We're idiots.
And it often sounds just like absolute gibberish. So we'll see where we're at here, okay? At number 1, we have Yakel from Princess Mononoke.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, cool.
The horse.
The-
Oh,
yeah,
it was the horse
deer
thing. The
yeah.
little,
Deer guy. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
it wasn't a horse, though.
It was like
It was like a
mounts.
deer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
was his pet.
I
A little
liked
pet
it.
or whatever.
And number 2, we have Dope Daddy from Totoro.
Yes.
I assume that's
Oh,
just
the
the
cool ass
dad.
dad. He was
Agree.
dope.
Agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are great.
Cool guy.
3, we have Fujiko from Castles of Cagliostro.
Remember that? That's she was cool as shit.
Oh my god.
She was like
Whoa.
the
I think that was the first
That was the first one.
one we
That was the
did.
first
yeah. She
one.
was the like the
other
special agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
another thief that's like competitive with him.
Oh, gotcha.
We have Fio from Porco Rosso.
Don't remember.
Don't remember either.
I remember that, but it made me want to have a BLT.
Then we had the boiler guy from Spirited Away.
Oh, the guy that was like, she goes down into the thing and he like
remember.
teaches her all
Yeah.
the
He's got all
stuff.
the arms.
Yeah.
He has the
Yeah.
arms and stuff. Yeah, that guy was dope as
Yeah,
shit.
He's got those
yeah.
cool glasses too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love
Cool
him.
glasses.
Calcifer
Yeah.
from Hal's
Love
movie
Calcifer.
Castle,
Come on.
who's sick as Hal.
That's an MVP.
Is this in order?
Yeah, well, this is our ranked.
From one?
Oh,
So
Calcifer's so low.
yeah,
Yeah.
Cool was the highest.
Then we have the pirate / Dola from Castle in the Sky. I remember them. There was the pirate group that was led by the older lady, and they were just going on fun
Yeah, yeah,
adventures,
yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
like a side thing for the entire movie. Asono from Kiki's Delivery Service.
Don't remember.
Is that
Can't
not
say I
the
remember.
It's probably the
woman
cat, huh?
that she meets
Runs the
in
bakery, the cafe.
Is it? Or is it the woman she meets that's like the artist in the woods?
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
that's it.
You're good, Belinda.
That's what about me.
Next up, the one I definitely remember, Tato
Tato.
from Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind. Should be number 1.
I agree.
Should be number
Which
one.
I
one?
love
Tato.
Tato. It's the little
He has a little like fox
fox
ferrety, like
that
Pokemon
Nausicaa
looking
has.
thing.
Yeah.
Real
Very-
sick.
Fair,
Very
fair.
Eevee like.
Yes. Then we have Kurakawa from The Wind Rises. who was the old man.
Christian Bale? Probably. No.
Robert
No. The Wind Rises.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I was just assuming Christian Bale was also in that.
No. He was the guy that kind of like was giving them money. Like he was the one financing all of the planes being built and stuff. Like,
Right.
and he felt kind of cold-hearted, but he had a heart of gold by the end.
Right.
He always does.
And then we had the Green Pale from Ponyo.
Oh,
at
this
the
dude
end.
from The Wind Rises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This old man.
Yeah. And then we have the Green Pale from Ponyo, which I don't remember exactly what that is. But to prep this, I had to get these lists. So I had to watch part of the last episode. And Belinda was really upset about the Green Pale being on this list. I don't know why.
I don't know why, but I know that I wasn't on the Ponyo episode.
You missed that one.
So that discussion happened without my
Without you.
authority. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha.
but you were upset at our thoughts about
I'm
the
sure,
Green Pale.
knowing us though, I'm sure we had very real and smart
Rational.
and mature and rational reasons for putting that thing on that
That's
list.
usually how we work it.
Someone clipped this with the real and rational reason.
Yeah, I would be shocked if we had.
Of you going,
You have a
Andy,
good
Control
reason.
F, Night Boner.
So now we need to decide what's the MVP of this movie and where it ranks. I want to give a shout out to the parakeets. I don't know if it's necessarily the king, but like the parakeets in general, I like their vibe.
They stood out the most for me. I think the MVP is the shaved head. I like Mahito with a shaved head.
On the
shape.
Look, it
side.
looks cool.
It is pretty sick.
It looks pretty sick. But I think the parakeets.
I think Kiriko for me is MVP.
Is it the
Tiny
sister?
Kiriko. No,
Oh,
That's
Kiriko.
the mom when she was young.
Was
Or
the
when she
sailor
was
No,
lady.
she's
No,
she's the one
the
who like
handmaiden.
welcomes him in. She's like, get the
Oh.
fuck on the boat. We're gonna
Yeah,
go
okay,
fishing.
Yeah. But it's also the old lady that is
Yes.
the little.
You're right.
You know what? Fuck, you're
Do
right.
this. You got
Okay.
it, yeah.
Okay.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'll say yes to that 100% because when we got to that part in the story, I was like, she's a really interesting character. I'd like to spend the next 2 hours exploring why she's that, and we don't.
But we end with her.
But she's cool.
Okay, I'm down to put her on
She's
the
there
list.
the whole time, I think.
But I
But
do have
also
a
like the
question for
sailing,
you.
the ghost boats and all that stuff was cool. And then she's like lives in this cool big ship,
Ghost boats are
and
always
she has
cool.
like all the sperm float around it, and it's
Kinda
like
cool.
just friends. They're
And she
friends.
fights off the pelicans for the sperm. She like rescues the
Right,
sperm or
yeah.
whatever.
Sometimes, yeah,
And then she taught Mahito to do the
gutting.
gutting
Oh,
of
yeah.
the fish.
Oh yeah. Oh, she's fucking awesome for
Yeah.
sure.
Was
Yeah.
was
Is
that
she cooler than the Green Pale though?
was that Florence Pugh
That was Florence Pugh, yeah,
Mhm.
I think, or maybe it was Karen Fukunaga. I can't remember. Who
or
it was.
Gemma Chan?
Or Gemma Chan.
It was Florence Pugh.
There you go.
Gotcha. Loved that character. I think Belinda's right. I would go
Yeah,
with
that's a good call.
Well, the
so
question
where's
is where do you
Kiriko
put it?
go?
Because I got to be real with you, the Green Pale was fucking it. You know,
You don't know.
it was kind of it.
Do you remember what the Green Pale
Don't die on
was?
this.
100% no. I don't remember why.
Like,
he's
I
up
have
there.
no
but
idea.
knowing that,
the pail that like
Pale that- Yeah. It's literally.
God, you guys are so fucking stupid.
I remember why it was so stupid.
I mean, but look how cute Ponyo looks in this
I
pail.
know.
Look at it
But
holding
why
No, you're not.
is the MVP not Ponyo?
No, it's gotta go. It's the pail.
Oh my
man.
gosh, she's so cute. Oh,
Holy
I love her so
crap.
much.
All right. So I think we're putting her above the
useless.
pale. There's Kurikawa from The
Nothing
Wind
against
Rises.
never
which
get
was,
my way.
was the old man.
Sure.
I think she's better than that.
I'm gonna say yes.
The old man was rad.
I'm gonna say
He was keeping
Yeah.
the eye on the bottom line, but also had the heart.
Yeah.
You know
Here's the
what?
question.
I could not put Kiriko above Calcifer.
But can you put it above Tato from Nausicaa?
Oh.
I'm surprised
Tato's that low.
Me too.
Tato should be
Tato to the top.
higher.
To the top.
I would say not, but I'm just in that weird spot where it's like I like him more than this, but I'm not.
Yeah. Is it better than Tato? That's what we need to decide right now.
No.
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 There we go
No.
then. There we go. Kiriko from
The boy,
Boy
in
and the Heron.
Yep, there it is.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, when he finds that little figure, you know, or the figurine is.
Andy, I hate that now anytime Nix talks, he somehow gets into Biden, and anytime you talk, a little Trump gets in there. Just a little. Like whatever you just said. It was
The little figurine that turns
what do
into
you-
her.
I hate that.
it's just
The
horrible.
little figurine.
Belinda, this is my life every day.
So sorry,
Get
Barrett.
Andy a bucket. He can live in the bucket.
You lost, Sleepy Joe.
I'm gonna sleep in a bucket.
I you have that sort of reveal, like, oh, it was her. Like, I wanted like more of that.
Yeah.
I just love a cool twist, and I wanted like, oh my god, it's similar. Well, I don't want to spoil freaking Agatha All Along, but that twist, I wanted something
Twist on twist,
something like that. Like, holy shit, all that stuff was a representative
I
of
want
these
her
little
to affect
figurines.
the story.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
100%.
But
So
we love
super
her.
cool MVP of this movie, but overall, number 10 on the list. Now it's time to rank
MVP.
the Miyazaki Studio Ghibli movies. Currently at number 1, we have Spirited Away. Number 2, Princess Mononoke. Number 3, Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind. Number 4, The Wind Rises. Number 5, My Neighbor Totoro. Number 6, Kiki's Delivery Service. Number 7, The Castle of Cagliostro. 8, Howl's Moving Castle. 9, Porco Rosso. 10, Ponyo. And 11, Castle in the Sky. I do want to remind everybody here that this is the most divisive list we have ever had.
How the
because
fuck do we have Howl's that low?
Yeah.
because each one of us had a completely different list.
Oh,
So
yeah.
every episode to episode, we didn't agree, and it was the most varied rankings.
It's like our Pixar one.
It's very similar to that because like a lot of
Joey
different
and Wally. Come
styles,
on,
like a lot
Joey.
of different things going on. So obviously, this represents the voting, but doesn't necessarily represent each of our thoughts. Where do we want to put
We're looking at the Electoral College right now.
the
voting.
boy and the heron?
I'm gonna say it. I think it's last.
Wow.
I think it's last for me. I think I would put it over Porco Rosso, I think, but not over Ponyo or Castle in the Sky.
I'm kind of right there. I definitely did not find this as charming or as adorable as Ponyo was. I probably enjoyed this more than Porco Rosso, but I can't put it over Ponyo or Castle in the Sky. So this would be number 12 for me.
It feels weird putting this movie last,
Yeah.
but it also feels right. Because like I'm looking at it and I'm like, I like Castle in the Sky better,
Because,
undeniably.
like I look in the mirror and I'm like, you're an idiot because you didn't understand this movie.
yeah,
But then I'm like, how the fuck was I supposed to understand this movie?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's one of those where it's like, am I the problem? Probably.
Who's the problem? It's probably me.
Needless
the
to
problem?
say.
should have fucking won. It should have fucking won.
You're right.
Yeah, I would go number 12, The Boy and the Heron. Nick, do you have any?
No, I mean, I didn't particularly enjoy this film other than the art behind it. I didn't really take much away from it. Whether or not I'm stupid is notwithstanding. I just didn't enjoy the film. And I remember enjoying Castle in the Sky to a point where I was like, this is pretty creative and fun and whimsical. So, yes, I would put this dead last as well.
Yeah. So there we go, everybody. The new number 12, the final Miyazaki movie so far, The Boy and the Heron. Will we return in another 4 years to this franchise in review? Maybe. Maybe. Will there be another tsunami? I really hope not. But Belinda, thank you so much for joining us. Where could people find you?
These days I Instagram, BBC Garcia. I'm BBC Garcia on everything. I'm just not on Twitter so much these days. Blue Sky.
Blue Sky.
Blue Sky is out there. So yeah, see me there.
Go follow. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us. I really appreciate it.
So glad I'm
great
here.
to have you back. Remember, everybody, next Friday, it's going to be an adventure. We're hunting Craven the Hunter, baby. It's happening. Me, Andy, Nick, and Greg are going to watch it and then immediately come to this studio to give our reactions. And I'm sure it's going to be an absolutely great time, whether or not the movie's good or bad. It's going to be fun. You think it's better or worse than Madam Web?
Do you think Greg? My question is, do you think Greg does those really maniacal laughs in the middle of the movie because he
Yes.
realizes that, like, how awful this is, and it's silent, and you just hear a.
Right now, the theater is the four of us, one guy in front of us, in one row ahead of us,
And by the way, Belinda,
and
I
no one else.
desperately tried to get us to sit right next to that guy. or like, you
You
know,
can
bookend
still
him.
go in there and sit right next to him.
I just want to be
Surrounded.
this guy's friend. Yeah, just circle him.
Oh my God. But yeah, stay tuned for that. It's going to be a great time. Until next time.
Hello.